Each month, I stand at the threshold, holding the door open to you, the witch, the seeker, the mystic, who is looking to understand their path a little bit better and to understand their magic. Twice monthly, I offer classes to our community. In our Seekers Alley, I offer a free class to everyone where we discuss a very specific esoteric topic. The second class of each month is reserved for our inner circle, and this is where we go deep. This is where we take theory and we put it to action, where we can see how our magic flows out into the world to create the change we most desire. And when you support the Rebel Mystic Coven, you are directly supporting this podcast and the Unbound Priestess podcast, showing me that all the effort that goes into producing each and every episode is worth it and that you love what we produce. I look forward to seeing you in the Coven. I hope you will join me soon. Check the link in the show notes for more information or visit leandrawitchwood.com to join the Coven.
This time in the Magick Kitchen, we're diving deeper on protection magic and talking about when we can use Baneful Magick for protection.
I'm Leandra Witchwood.
And I'm Elyse Wells.
And welcome to the Magick Kitchen Podcast, where we talk about magic, kitchen witchcraft, herbs,
and everything in between. This episode felt important to do because we are in a time where, let's be honest, we're in a wartime in the world right now. But I don't believe we are going to be out of the woods as far as requiring deeper protections than perhaps usual for a while. So we still, I think this episode is going to be very important, even if everything is sunshine and rainbows by the time it releases, because we are just in a time of tumult. Like we 100% are. And I know that that happens every so often where that's how cycles work. You know, things get easy, things get hard. But when I think back to the egregore of time in 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, there was a hope and joy in the world for what was to come that has been gone longer than I think we necessarily are ready to admit. And so I think with that too, it's fair to change our to shift our understandings of what it is to protect ourselves. Like take COVID, for example. During COVID, what were the things we did to protect ourselves? We self-isolated, we social distanced, and, you know, eventually there was a vaccine and, treatments. But in that beginning, all we could do was socially distance, or literally like the 6 feet apart thing when you're in person, or actually isolate. And that meant that we had to set boundaries that were really painful. Like I remember friends having babies and no one could visit them. They couldn't hold their grandkids, you know? That was a boundary that was set that caused pain on all sides, but it was for a greater good. And so I want us to think more deeply as we go through this episode and you're listening to this and you're, making your own thoughts on what it means to be protected. Think a little more deeply about the firmness of boundaries and the pain that they can cause. I think we sometimes gloss over that when we talk about setting boundaries, especially as women. Like we focus on the empowerment of setting the boundaries, but it's also painful. It can lead to feelings of guilt or shame or embarrassment. It can make us feel like we're repressing ourselves, like we're saying no to our desires to have to set certain boundaries for protection. But that doesn't mean it's not for our higher good to set those boundaries. And all of those boundaries will eventually serve to empower you. But in the middle, in the interim of setting them, and that is what protection magic is essentially. It's a boundary that you're setting with yourself, with the universe, with those viruses from attacking you. whatever this protection spell or practice or energy shield or anything is, it is there to protect you, and it is a boundary. So boundaries can be painful to erect. And in times of strife, global strife, they're more important than ever, but also with that, they will be sometimes painful to erect as well.
Yeah. And yeah, boundaries. I like that you touched on that we talk about boundaries, we make them sound like these, I don't know, like abstract things, but and the truth is, like, boundaries aren't meant to necessarily suppress you or repress you or oppress you. They can feel like that, especially when it starts taking people out of your life that don't deserve to be in your space. And I'm going to say that very intentionally, deserve to be in your space, because if people aren't respecting you, they're not respecting your boundaries, they're not respecting your feelings, they're not taking you into account. Your boundaries, for one, are loose in those situations typically. Or you just have people in your life that are not good for you because you're not being respected the way you should be respected. And for me, protection magic and even baneful magic, we're going to talk a little bit about that, about the baneful side of it, is necessary when people in mundane life aren't getting the hint. They're not taking the clue. They're not respecting the boundary. And when I say we're not oppressed or suppressed, I find that when I set boundaries, I'm more free. And my relationships are better because people know where they stand with me. And I know how far I'm willing to allow people to trespass or impose. And a boundary isn't you. It's not you saying, well, if you don't do this, something bad's going to happen to you. No, a boundary is you set the boundary, you communicate the boundary, they disrespect the boundary, you remove yourself. You are no longer accessible to them.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing. That's the really hard part.
And I also want to say,
you have to let go.
I don't think boundaries are the same as ultimatums either. Like, I think it's a pretty fair maxim to say ultimatums are almost never a good idea. Like, maybe never.
I think they get confused though. People confuse them a lot.
But they do.
If you don't stop doing that, then I'm going to do this. It's
Whereas a boundary is like a contract. It's actually, and this is where I know it's such a witchcraft cliche, but our intention matters. It really matters.
It does.
And a protection spell, a petition is important. Really knowing what you're asking and of who, if you're calling it a deity or not, if it's your guides, if it's your higher self, knowing who you're asking it of, and ultimately you're asking it of yourself too, to adhere to this contract. And then you're petitioning the boundary to exist. That's really what protection spell is. You're saying, this is what I need protection from. This is how I think that protection needs to go, because we never know for sure. And that's where I do always call in my spirit team in rituals and spells, because I know they know a little better than me. I've built this relationship in some cases over a lifetime. So I will trust them to say, if I'm writing that petition out with them and I think it's going to go this way, and they say, I would add this. I'm going to add this,
It rarely goes the way you think it's going to go.
Yeah. So even with clear intention, your guides might maneuver things a little bit for you, but you're in control of how this goes. And and that's why I say it's not an ultimatum. Like a protection magic is never, I banish all people, right? No, you banish people that want to harm you, or you banish people that want to steal from you, or if you are in a specific situation, you banish someone from, breaking into your home because, maybe that's something you actually have going on in your neighborhood at the time. It's like a cat burglar thing going on. So sometimes it's specific enough like that, but most of the time it's stacked. It's like, I want protection. Like if we're doing a protection on our house, we're asking for protection from theft and break-ins and, dogs peeing on the front porch. Like we're protecting against all of that. So we want to have that intentionality. And it's never an ultimatum of, if you don't do this boundary, it's
right. We're not
it's trust, I guess, maybe is the better way to say it. You kind of do the spell and then you trust that it's going to do what it needs to do. And there's you're not putting yourself between a rock and a hard place to do protection magic.
Yeah. One of the best pieces of advice and training I ever received from any of my magical teachers was from my high priestess, who told me that not everyone deserves access to your energy. And this is why protection magic is so important. So if you are enjoying this episode and you feel the need to ramp up your protective routines and knowledge to really base yourself in solid protection magic, I would like to invite you to join me in my Herbal Wards and Shields container. Registration's happening now. It closes May 22nd. So if you're interested, hop in there. We are going to work together to fortify our defenses and our literacy around protection magic. So I hope to see you in there. Again, registration closes May 22nd. You can find the link in the show notes or check out my website, leandrawitchwood.com, and look for my signature programs. Blessed be.
Well, and I think those boundaries can leak. Like we always talk about, like protecting our home and our space, but we also need to protect our time, our energy, and what we put out in the world. And when we going to work, you go to work every day, you expect that your time and energy is going to be respected through your salary and the benefit package you get from work. Or if you're an artist, you should expect, and I'm going to say this, you should expect that people to pay you accordingly for your time, energy, and your talent, your expertise.
Yeah.
If you're a coach, if you do anything in this world where you put yourself out there, you put out your time and energy, you share your expertise, you share your experience, you share your knowledge. Your boundary is expecting that the people who partake of that value you enough to invest or to reciprocate or to at least acknowledge that you offered something valuable.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a hard thing. When I talk to people about, well, what do I'm an artist. How do I price my stuff? I'm a freelancer. How do I price my stuff? Where do you value yourself? Because where you price your stuff, where you ask for reciprocity, is going to be that boundary you set. This is what I'm worth. If you don't value me at this ticket price, at this, you name it, whatever it might be. If you don't value me enough to meet me where I'm at for what I'm offering you, from, sitting at your desk every day, doing your job, to you made a bunch of paintings and now you're at an art show trying to sell your stuff, your price point is your boundary of what you're going to expect people to meet you, where you're going to be expected to be met.
Energetic
and I think
investment.
That's such an important.
Money is just one energy. And so that's the investment that you require as that boundary for access to your magic, which might be art, and it
might be anything. Yeah. And I've said this before, like we are in a huge, I call it the Walmart mentality, because too many people out there are expecting to get it for free or for next to nothing. For whatever that might be, whatever it might be. Oh, I can just go do that myself. Well, go ahead, go do it yourself. Go ahead. It's harder than you think. And so in a past life, in this lifetime, really, one of my many lives I've lived during this lifetime, I am an artist. I was a professional artist, though. I would go to art shows. I would sell my art. The one that I enjoyed the most doing was I would make these really elaborate cards. So they were literally like boxes you would open up and they would fold open, and it was a keepsake. And I can't tell you how many times people would come into my booth and say, "Oh, I can do that myself." Well, go ahead, because this card right here took me 5 hours to make.
I was going to say those are so hard. Paper crafts are so complicated.
So hard. There's so many details. There's so many things that if you put something together wrong, you have to scrap the whole thing. So you have to pay attention. It's a skill and it's a talent. But this is just a great example of where I realized, oh crap, I'm not valuing myself because I'm setting this card at $5 because that's what the Walmart crowd around me was expecting.
Yeah.
Or what they were looking for, when my work was 10 times above that. And so I started doing my own spell work with boundaries, with protection to protect myself from these people who would come to the booth saying, oh, I can just do that on my own. Or why are you charging me that much? I can go to Hallmark, or I can go to the grocery store and get one for $2.
The
Why
Dollar Tree has 2 for $1.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, that's not far from the messages I would get.
Could you imagine talking to an artist that way? Like, could you even?
People do. People really do. They really think that you should be putting the price point according to their interest, their desired budget. And it wasn't right. They were not respecting me. They were not respecting my work. And that's when I set that hard boundary. No, this is my price point because I'm creating keepsakes, and I carry that forward. So I would do spell work for myself before I would go to a show. I would sit at my altar and I would do spell work, and I would put a barrier around me and my booth to keep out the people who were the cheapskates, who were just there to haggle and disrespect my work. And I do that now, even when I do free events. I will give this much to you for free. Then if you want to really go deep, here's the upgrade. Here's the investment. Here's how you invest in yourself by showing me the value that you respecting the value that I offer. So there's all kinds of things that Elyse and I both do that give you that opportunity to engage with us. But if you really want the deep stuff, we have packages for you. We have those things for you. But I can't guarantee it's going to be cheap because we're not giving you surface level stuff. And I think that's an important thing. That's an important boundary to remember for yourself. And I hope that we demonstrate that and encourage you to do that for you through the work that we do.
So where does the baneful part come into this? So let's quickly just describe. Baneful means harmful. That's essentially what it means. A baneful plant is a plant that could cause harm. And that's the way I attack baneful magic. I don't practice baneful magic in my practice in the traditional sense. And what's traditionally considered baneful are curses, hexes, crossing, which is similar to hexing. Jinxes. Yeah, like we hear lots of terms that like essentially mean the same thing. They mean if you do the bad thing, you get the bad punishment.
This is the consequences.
And sometimes they're just, here's the consequence. And those are the kind I would never in my life engage with. So even when somebody has wronged you, to curse them is to create an energetic tie with them.
Yeah.
Because you're using your energy to create harm. So you're sending energy to them to do a thing. Banishings and bindings, and we talked about this in part 1 last month, but banishings and bindings, I don't identify as hexes or curses because it has nothing to do with the other person's energy. You're 100% protecting yours from that person. Right. So it might be conditional. So that's what we'll talk about here is like, we'll get into that, but we're not harming them. I'm binding that person from doing the thing. So it's actually the opposite of connecting your energy. You're severing it. And we'll talk later about cord cuttings as well. But curses are traditionally you send harm, and by sending that harm then lands on them. That harm that you sent came from you. It is now an energetic cord.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't do it. I don't mess with it. Mm-mm. Even people who really, really deserved it. It's just not worth feeling connected to them for the rest of my life. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine arriving somewhere built to hold you. Stone paths leading to hidden caves of the goddess. Salt water clearing away old patterns. Long tables of food and friendship shared beside a sunset. Temples of the old gods. Alive in and around you. You are invited to join me in Greece, on an in-person pilgrimage through ancient temples and landscapes where women once gathered to grieve, rest, and remember themselves. We travel to the Temple of Artemis, Hecate's cave at Elyse. We swim inside a temple of Hera and enter a hidden goddess cave and sacred sites to Aphrodite and Medusa. Our days are shaped by land, water, and ritual. Our nights are spent at a private villa with expansive views, a private pool, deep rest, and exceptional food prepared with care. This retreat is for women and non-binary seekers carrying exhaustion, grief, or a long history of holding it together. Join us at ElyseWells.com/femininewound, where spots still remain. The land can hold it. Come to Greece and answer that call to heal.
Right. And that's a big thing is I don't think people understand. What was that trend? We're going to curse the moon.
Oh my gosh.
Like
you told me about that. That was
like seriously, like I would love to know like what kind of energy is coming back on these people now.
Have you ever heard of any of them ever again?
Nope.
There we go. There we go. Or
Yeah.
that guy who told the Etsy witches, do your worst. And then he like lost his house, his
Haven't heard
wife,
from
his
him
dog,
since. Yep.
He like got destroyed and then never posted
He did.
again.
Nope. And it's so I'm going to say this as gently as I can. I feel like knee-jerk cursing people is such a mean girl high school move.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Now, because I look at, okay, yeah, there's a time and a place for everything. But if you're going to engage in this deep magic that is connecting you banefully, negatively to someone else, their energy, their actions, it had better be a damn good reason.
Yeah. And it has got to be your last resort. Like you have nothing else to do. And here's how I would recommend it. And this is what I was going to, this is, I think, the part that's the nuance that's important. A tag lock or a conditional curse. Mm-hmm. So I do have in my oeuvre of work, I do have kind of a protection magic out on my books, on my articles. When I press publish on a Substack post, when I press submit to my editor at the Wild Hunt, I do put a protection on my words that I've created in this article or this book that they will not be appropriated, misused, also misunderstood. I don't want people to misunderstand my meaning and things. And they will be encouraging to the people that read them. Like my tenets of my life are to really instill in the world a deeper love of life and re-enchantment with nature and empathy with each other, a oneness with earth and nature and people. So I really want that out there. If someone's going to use that for ill, or if they're going to steal it and claim it as their own work, or, something like that, if they're going to do something that soils, that spoils the work, in my opinion, that's disrespectful to the work's integrity, there is kind of a conditional thing to that of like, they're going to feel it. I picture it as like, that guilt that like eats your soul, that like slime feeling. I haven't really felt it as an adult, but as a kid, I remember like eating an extra cookie or something. You know what I mean? That really guilty feeling. I try and make them feel that.
Spilling juice on the carpet.
Yeah. And you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm going to die.
Yeah. You can't sleep at night, and then you end up like panicking and going in your mom's room and being like, I'm so sorry I spilled the juice under the couch. I didn't want to tell you. Like, I try and make them feel that way because to me, that's the worst punishment. That's worse than stubbing your toe every time you walk in the bedroom because that can happen and then you move on. That eating you, consuming inside guilt is so much more painful. So that's what I put out there. So if anyone has ever is a podcast listener and you've ever stolen me without crediting and you feel that way, just credit me. It'll go away.
It'll go away. And one of the things that I do is instead of cursing immediately, if I'm having trouble with somebody, I put up a mirror spell. So if you ever notice in the back, if you ever attend any of my lives, if you're in the coven, if you do anything where you see my face on the video, you'll look behind me and you'll see two mirrors. Actually, it's one mirror and then one box, a bunch of boxes with a mirror behind it. Those are spells. Those are protection spells. And so what I'm doing there is I'm reflecting back to you your behavior. So if you're doing something that's not in alignment with the work I do, with the message I'm trying to send out, kind of like what you do, Elyse, if somebody's taking your words and misusing them or miscrediting or not crediting them, that is intended to bring it back to you to show you, hey, this is what you did. It's not cool.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? How are you going to fix it? And then it's going to keep coming back. It's going to keep like a shadow. It's almost like a shadow that you can't get rid of because it's going to keep knocking at your door.
Yeah.
Knocking at the window.
And mirror magic's interesting. So. Like there's a practice I've seen. I've never done it, but you make a poppet for someone. Poppets in general are they're an interesting conversation on is it baneful or not, because it is sort of taking someone's free will. Like you're creating this poppet and instilling certain things in them that maybe isn't their desire. But I have seen spells where you take a poppet, you make it for a person, and then you apply it to a mirror. So and you wrap it together. So that person is being forced to see their own actions.
Yes.
And I think that's actually, I know there's some conversation on consent there, but like, let's say you and your husband deeply love each other, but he's just not picking up what you're putting down about this issue that you're having. And he's like, I just don't know how to understand what you're saying. He wants to, right? Like he wants to understand better. Right. So at that point you can say,
there's a block there.
Yeah, you can say, like, I've said to my husband, like, do you mind if I do magic on this? Do you mind if I ask my guides about how to approach this better? And I'll ask my guides first. And they will say, usually, do this, do that. And so I've never had to do a working like that, myself. But I do think it can be done completely ethically and consensually and is a nice idea. So there are things that can be baneful practices that can just not be baneful practices if there's informed consent or if there's
poppets are a great example of that. They have proof. They have asked. I'm losing the word.
Empirical evidence?
Archaeological.
Oh.
Well, it is. I mean, it's archaeological evidence that poppets were also made for healing magic.
Yes.
They were made for prosperity. They were made for a pregnancy, to get pregnant. So,
well, a mirror spell is kind of a healing when you think about it, because you're saying, hey, work on this thing.
Exactly. And I kind of put those in with the binding. Like all of those I kind of lump into the binding magic. And you're not necessarily binding with cord, you can. But you're binding the issue to their periphery,
relegating
to their
it
view.
Essentially.
Yeah. So you're kind of like, here, this is the issue. Okay, you're not paying attention. Okay, here it comes again. Here's the issue. Okay, you're still not paying attention. Okay, here's the issue. And it just keeps putting it in front of you until you're like, oh wait, I need to work on that. I did someone dirty, so I need to fix that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the beauty also of thinking more deeply about baneful workings, is you start to recognize the opportunity in a lot of what's considered baneful. It's not always good spells, bad spells. It's, okay, this person clearly is on this journey, especially like in your case, they're coming to you for a spiritual teaching. They're there essentially to grow. And so that means being triggered. We can't grow without being triggered. Being triggered is often the indication of growth. Like, whoa, I'm really jealous of that person. I wonder what they have that I want.
Yeah. Why? Explore it.
So we're giving them what they are asking for by joining that Zoom call in a way, by reflecting back to them.
Yep.
In fact, I had a friend this morning, we were talking through some stuff in her spiritual path, and she goes, I love that you can mirror this back to me. So that feels relevant to share right now too.
Absolutely.
But I wanted to reiterate too, before I forget, that when we do like this kind of working I have on all my writing and my Instagram reels and whatever I teach, give me respect for having said it first, like just credit me. That's like the big imperative. It is up to the person to make the choice not to do that. There's no baneful anything I would ever put out into the world. But if you do a thing, if you make the choice to work against ethics, now this thing is going to happen to you. So that doesn't connect my energy to them because I'm leaving something on the table. It's like if you leave your phone somewhere by accident and that person chooses to steal it and they incur bad karma for it. They chose to steal the phone. You didn't cause them to steal your phone by leaving it there.
Yeah, your energy is attached to the work.
Yeah.
Not the person.
Mm-hmm. And the first and foremost energy my work puts out into the world is oneness, empathy, and reenchantment. So if they decide to pervert that,
That's
for
on them.
personal gain or twisting my words to say I'm this or that, or that is their choice now to bring that bad energy onto themselves. So the last main baneful practice that I don't find baneful actually is cord cutting. So cord cutting is the idea that we have energetic ties to the world around us, the people, particularly the people in our lives, and also certain emotions, certain situations. Like, for example, maybe you've moved and you just are struggling to acclimate to the place you live in. And so you need to cut the cords with where you moved from. So it can be quite varied. I think people think of cord cuttings as relationship-based, like human relationship-based, but they're much more than that. And the traditional witchcraft way of seeing these cords is that they're solid connections. So you might have a teacher tell you that if you cut cords with someone, you can never reconnect them. You might have someone tell you that the cords that we have between us are permanent and we have to cut them continuously in order to actually be in control of our energy. I've heard all sides of the spectrum. I feel like there is levels of cords. So like my parents, I love them so much, but I am the first daughter. And so sometimes I do have to set boundaries. I'm not always great at it, but I'm working at it, at setting boundaries of saying like, no, sorry, I have my own life. I can't do that for you, or something like that. First daughters are nodding their heads vigorously in understanding right now. So I have to cut the cords with them a lot of like, I cannot let my energy and anxiety be taken up by their problems. It has nothing to do with me. Yeah. They don't even live in the same country as me. Like I have to protect my energy. So I will do a simple cord cutting for that. But the main cord, like honestly, the literal umbilical cord that is connecting me to my parents, that would never be cut. And I feel that actually, as I say this, I do feel it in my solar plexus, right about where the umbilical would be. And it's this golden, thick, safe, it's almost like a rod than a cord. And it's completely light and it's pure. And that cord will never go away. But I do trim the kind of cobwebs up and around me a lot. Like every time I'm off the phone with them. Sometimes I'll even just get a text from them and be like, whoa, I need some incense. And I will, because it can, and some people are like that. Like if you have a really good bestie who like you're their venting person and like you love them, nothing, you don't want to not show up for them.
Oh my God. I'm so curious now. I want to like put this out to our listeners. How many of you out there, after talking to someone who you love dearly, but they're a lot, after you talk to them, how many of you go and like do a saltwater cleanse or a smoke cleanse or a tea cleanse?
Sometimes I just go outside. Like when I'm on a hard phone call or a long one, like, our friend is venting about it, and it's like, I just need to hold space. I will be outside. Yes. I will try to ground that way. Yes. In the moment. It's like letting my body be the antenna for her venting on the phone, let it come down and go into the earth.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes you live with that person. Like my son, he's very ADHD. He's so creative. He's so intuitive, and he's hyper vigilant with human rights. So all the shit that's going on right now, he is like, Mom, we got to do something. I'm like, okay, let's talk about it. But he will come home after school. That's usually when he does this like total word vomit on me. And he just wants to talk about his new creative project or what upset him that day. But he's intense. He's an intense personality. And so he will talk for 2 hours nonstop.
He should have a podcast.
He really should. Like, seriously, I keep telling him that you need your own podcast.
I mean, that's why I have so many.
Talk.
I'm a neurodivergent, passionate person. I do. I think it's our strength, but yeah, I get it. Yeah.
It's for someone like me. I'm double Pisces, so I drink it in. I feel it, mind, body, soul. It goes deep. Like I'm saying that, I'm getting chills because I'm acknowledging it. And so when someone is vomiting on me, expressing when I'm trying to hold space for them, like I have to control myself. I have to shield myself because it overtakes me.
Yeah. And so coming into your office after a conversation like that, doing a cord cutting would never sever your love for him.
No.
Like he's the best kid in the world.
I'm severing it from the energy of that conversation.
Exactly.
So like the different layers of cords that you were talking about, like I would never cut him off of from me because I love talking to him. I love his passion. I love his insights. But it is a lot.
Yeah.
And that's, like going outside and grounding or smoke cleanse, water, salt and water. But I also have to be clear with my boundaries with him. Because there will be times when the topic is starting to get a little too much. It's a little too intense. It's to the point where maybe understandings could occur. So that's when I stop and I said, David, I'm overwhelmed right now. This is too much. We need to change the subject or we need to take a break right now. And because we have done so much work together, he's like, okay, I get that. Let me say one more thing. Usually that's how it ends. I got one more thing to say. Like, no, but that's where I have to be very clear and very solid with my boundaries. I'm taking in too much right now. So I need to step back.
Yeah. And that's so good
alone time
to teach him. I mean, now he has that tool too. So I'm glad you shared that example because
it goes both ways.
I think we can get really in our heads, especially as those socialized as women. We really are taught to be of service, to please others.
People pleasing.
Yeah.
Yep.
I struggle with it. With my Pisces moon, I do struggle with that more than I will admit sometimes. And sometimes setting a boundary is physically painful. Like I will feel sick to my stomach to have to like not answer a long message or, but it is, it's like you do have to set those boundaries and it will strengthen your relationships. Every person I've set boundaries with is still in my life. The people who aren't in my life are the people I was too chicken to set the boundary with. Yeah. So that's the biggest proof in the world to me.
And that's your best form of protection, honestly, are good, solid, communicated boundaries. You have to communicate them.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and one last thing. Aura brushing can be considered cord cutting.
Yes.
I've had this question before, so I wanted to address it on the show. Aura brushing is essentially you take in witchcraft we would call this your giving hand, but your dominant hand, and you kind of brush, like you imagine you have a little brush in your hand and you just move it up and around your energy body. So I tend to start at my arms and my hands because that's where energy stores and is directed most. And then I move up, do my crown, third eye, whole body all the way down. And then I shake it out real well because, we can't really get our back and all that. So I just shake as I go. And then I usually turn it into like a movement practice. So I'll do some stretching. Do some laying on the
try
on
it in
the
the shower if you have issues. The shower use the water is your brush.
Yeah,
and
right on the crown chakra. I mean,
that's
and
essentially
down.
where that practice. Yep,
that's nice.
Essentially where that practice. I mean, I find a lot of practices that are old, like they get new identities or new faces.
Yeah,
and some of the nuances of it kind of get lost. But yeah, the shower cleanse is another way of aura brushing. Yeah.
That's such a great idea. I've been doing a practice in the shower I can share with everybody where I'll pull up the earth and then feel the shower like rain on earth. So it's been kind of this like cyclical as above, so below sort of. So I'll pull up from the earth to the water and then pull the water down to the earth.
Yeah.
Like a nourishment. So I move my hands. So I'll use my palms and fingertips to literally pull that earth energy up over myself and to the water, and then pull that water energy down from the water over myself into the shower. And then I don't take long showers because there was a Sesame Street video and when I was a little kid and like they showed the fish like gasping for air when the guy took a long shower.
And that was terrifying.
Yeah. And I was like, I will not kill that fish. So I take short showers, like 10 minutes tops usually. And same with the brushing my teeth. I'm always turning because this video, honestly, it traumatized me. Like the fish was gasping for air because this kid was like leaving the water on too long, doing different things. And I know that's putting it on a consumer. I know we are not the real wasters of water. But I just wanted to say that because it's not a long practice. Like it just takes 30 seconds or so. It's while you're rinsing, Yeah.
Well, and the whole 10-minute shower thing, I love it because I lived in California. during the droughts.
Oh,
so it was always like, short shower. So even to this day, I don't take more than a 10-minute shower. If I do, it feels weird. Like I feel weird being in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do something different than what you described in the shower. So when I'm going in to cleanse my energy, to do the water brushing with my energy, I tap into my body and I notice where I feel like where the energy is being held. And I imagine that as being like I just got out of the garden, I have dirt all over me. So I see it as dirt, like on the like pulling up to the surface, like pooling to the surface. And then the water is cleansing that away and washing it away until I feel like it's gone. So I'm making it in my head this little more of a tangible vision of, okay, I'm dirty, quote unquote, because I'm not, but the idea that there's sludge, there's muck, there's dirt that I can pull to the surface and then let the water wash that away. So there's so many different ways you can do it. You can
visualize water as light.
Yep. I mean, one of the other ones I do is I'll take herbs and I'll make an herbal scrub. So it's literally just dried herbs that you wet and it becomes this herbal scrub. And I'll use that. So I'll use herbs that I would typically use, and I might even mix it with salt. So there's so many things you can do. And I encourage
maybe we
people
should do a whole like shower episode, like bathroom magic or something, because it's not just the shower. No, not that. Yeah, but there's the shower. There's bathtubs.
Yes.
There's self-care.
Yeah. Yep. There's scrubs. Oh God, scrubs! Like do all day on scrubs.
Ooh, okay, everybody. Let us know if you're interested in that.
Fully.
Message me on Instagram.
Merry meet,
merry part, and merry meet again.
Thank you for joining us on the Magick Kitchen Podcast. Please visit my website, leandrawitchwood.com, for news, information, and more episodes.
I'm Elyse Wells. You can learn more about my current offerings and my upcoming retreats to Greece at ElyseWells.com. That's ELYSEWELLES.com. Did you know you can get a free reading from me every single Wednesday at 10 a.m.? Join me in my live devotional space for Sacred Wild Wednesdays. We gather live on a webinar for free readings with oracle texts and tarot decks, magical musings on the moment, and some grounded spiritual guidance rooted in land. If you're craving a pause, a recalibration, and some community, you are so warmly invited to join us. Visit ElyseWells.com/SacredWildWednesdays to register and get the link straight to your inbox every Wednesday.